Today on the Diz List, we discuss our second round of Diz List March Madness.
Welcome to the Diz List, the podcast that lists everything in Walt Disney World. I am Nick.
And I'm Rob, and welcome to episode 89, where we discuss the second set of Diz List March Madness results, continuing on with Animal Kingdom.
Yeah. Speaking of Animal Kingdom, this past week, our good friends over at Ear Scouts released an early morning rope drop. So the early entry rope drop video.
Yeah, and they've done these before, but I like how Rob and Eric are doing, okay, well, this is the current version of what it's like.
Yeah.
And they don't just, they update it essentially. It's sort of like what we did when we went back over our list for Magic Kingdom.
Right. But this one I thought was worth speaking about on air because they did something that I had actually mentioned a couple weeks ago. I can't remember why maybe when we talked about the Animal Kingdom rides and ranked them.
Yeah.
I had said that, some people have said, I haven't done this, but some people have said that you should, or that you could, instead of going on Flight of Passage, start with Navi River Journey.
Yeah.
And so they tested it out. And don't do what I said that you could do.
Right. So what ended up happening, and this was new, and I like this, so Ear Scouts, if you're listening, I thought this was cool. So Rob, not me, Rob, but Rob from Ear Scouts, Rob, did Plan A, and Eric, the other half of Ear Scouts, did Plan B. Plan A was like what Nick said. That's what Rob did.
You can go Navi River Journey.
And he went Navi River Journey and tried that method. But the opposite plan was Eric did Plan B, and Eric went right to Flight of Passage.
Yeah.
And Nick, what happened?
Well, Eric could have finished the park by 10 o'clock.
Everything. I think they did everything but Everest, right? What was the one they didn't do? Something
was down.
Yeah, they had everything checked off.
Cali
River Rapids, because it's refurbished. Yeah.
So I still stand by the fact that there are times when that might work, going to Navi River Journey first.
Sure.
But it is obviously a gamble, and I predicated my statement on the show that day that it was, not necessarily a guarantee, and that it was a gamble, and a pretty big gamble. But I was like, when I watched the show, I was like, oh my gosh, I just talked about this. And I was excited. I was like, please tell me that Rob ends up at least even. And nope.
It wasn't even close.
No, not at all.
No.
But it's always nice to watch those shows where they're like, let's look at these different strategies.
Yeah.
Because when you just do it one way, and you always do it that way, you sometimes find yourself second guessing. Like, should I do this instead? Like, should I go? Here's a good example. If you don't have early entry, should I go to Fantasyland or should I go into Frontierland? Well, I think my answer is if you don't have early entry, you go to Frontierland.
Yeah.
But maybe all the crowds that were there for early entry have now moved on
to Frontierland.
And so, as soon as it opens, so maybe going,
maybe Tomorrowland and Space Mountain is the right.
So, yeah. So when you have multiple people doing it on the same day, it's fun to see what's actually happening.
Well, and then everything will shift again when Tron goes to regular queue.
Yeah.
And things will shift even more when Tiana's opens, depending on what they'll do. I mean, we've discussed this on our episodes as well, whether or not they're going to do virtual queue again for Tiana.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do.
Are they going to do an individual lightning lane for Tiana's? So there's a lot of questions. There was some controversy this week. The person who does the voice for Lewis posted something on social media that I don't think Disney liked too much, and I think they made him take it down.
Yeah.
I don't know that part for a fact, but let's just say they said the post was deleted.
Yeah, so why don't you explain what happened?
So there was a post on social media by the person who did the voice of Lewis talking about the different animatronics and how they have a virtual run-through of the ride, which seemed like he had seen it.
Okay.
And then there was a response to his post by the girl that does the voice for, man, I'm so bad with the names of these characters. The blonde girl, I can't remember her name.
The princess.
I've literally seen that movie once. I really liked it. I saw it in the theater, and that's the last time I've seen it.
I know what you're talking about.
I'm like that with Disney movies. Like I love them, and I just move on. I watch the next one, and the next is I watch so much stuff. But anyway, so they kind of had a rebuttal and talking back and forth, and they really didn't have a lot of info to report. I know this is kind of like a non-story, but then all of a sudden they said the post was taken down, which leads me to believe that maybe they got a phone call from somebody at corporate saying, "Oh, you got to take that down, please."
So here's the thing. I think nothing happens on mistakes.
Oh,
right?
okay.
Do you remember when Guardians got leaked?
Yeah.
And whoever it was the director of parks or whatever, and posted, "Oh, we'll see you Memorial Day."
I forgot about that. I remember now.
And it was up for a few hours, and then it was deleted with a retraction.
Yeah, and
then it still opened when he had leaked. Like it. It
was a non-story that's actually a story on purpose. Yeah. I'm not going to say you're wrong on that.
Speaking of controversy, always the one to avoid controversy, Bob Iger this week.
Oh yeah,
said we could build 7 new lands.
Could.
Now I have 2 problems with the statement could. One is no. You will. That's what we want to hear.
Yeah. 2,
you could build 7 new parks. Like, that's the reality of it.
Mm-hmm.
If it took, $4 billion or $5 billion to build Epic Universe, and they're looking to invest the money they're looking to invest, they could build 7 new parks. Not lands, parks.
Also, 7 seems like an oddly specific number.
Yeah.
Like, where'd you come up? Like, is 7 just a random number? Maybe. I mean, it's a possibility too, but maybe that's a calculated number that was discussed in a board meeting.
Yeah, Iger's comments are sometimes maddening because it's like, what do you mean you could? Like, are you walking back the blue sky ideas? Is that what you're doing right now?
Maybe.
I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think I got to believe that we're going to have an amazing D23.
Yeah.
But maybe not. I could be completely wrong.
Some people say we'll get some announcements before that even.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've kind of got to move the needle
quicker.
They've already started to kind of put in incentives to get people to go to Disney next year. They released the 2025 dates earlier than normal with the idea, some people feel the idea was, if we release this now, we can get people to book in 2025 before Universal releases stuff, and therefore we'll get their money first. But then I've also read stuff this week about how people are really upset with how expensive it is to go to Disney now, and like they're getting backlash over the recent increase in ticket costs, because some of those ticket cost increases are like 10%.
That's huge.
That's a lot of money. 10%. Like, look, you want to stay up with inflation, fine, but 10%. I'm not getting 10% of a better experience. If anything,
what have
I'm
you
getting
done
a worse
to give
experience.
me?
Yeah. And I don't know.
Well, then the water park too, and you and I were discussing this at work the other day. Is we talked about on the show how didn't seem like it was the greatest incentive if your plane arrives at 3:00 and Blizzard Beach or Typhoon Lagoon's only open until dinner time. But we had heard, again, this is not official yet, but we had heard that both parks would potentially be open, number one.
Yep.
And number two, that they would be open till, I would say, average. I don't want to say regular closing time. Let's say average is 9, right, for a park, but can be different for Animal Kingdom and later for Magic Kingdom. So seems like a little bit of a better incentive when you add in, the park hours and the fact that there's 2 water parks. So it's all math-based, and, you're Mr. Math, and I'm not the math person of the two. But
it doesn't cost them very much to offer this.
Right. I mean, it costs, energy, water, staff, food service, all that stuff for both parks. But then let's take that and find out, okay, is this...
But you offer that incentive with the hopes that someone chooses to stay on property rather than off.
Yeah. And then how do you prove that? I mean, is that like a statistic?
Oh, they can easily do it. They can do tests. They can do statistical analysis of the data
Surveys?
to determine. No, they could just do. Well, they could do a survey. I'm thinking more along the lines of like looking at sellout rates and how what the capacity in their hotels were this year compared to when they offered the incentive, and see whether or not that potentially was the reason or if it did impact it. I, for myself, don't see that would sway me, but maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I've been, like I said, I've been to both. I enjoyed both of them. We have not gone to the water parks as a family because if you listen to this show regularly, you know that Nick and I basically go in the summer because we're teachers. Yeah. So that's the time that we go. And if you're going, it seems like it's a good time to go to the water park.
Yeah.
But also a very difficult time because your kids get fried. And when I was younger, we would go with family during February break of school or spring break because my parents were teachers also. And that seemed a little bit more doable when you're out in the sun in April or February versus July and August, which, you take your shirt off and your skin bursts into flames. At least me. We are very fair skinned in our family.
Yeah.
Our Irish blood.
I think it is an incentive, and I know I kind of shot it down last week, but if it's going to be open till 8 o'clock, I think that does change things a little bit.
Yeah. I would be interested in going.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I want to go for a long time. And again, if you're there in the summer, it's going to cool off a little bit around dinner time. And that might be, hey, we had a long day, long travel day. Let's take a nap in the hotel, wake up, and then ride a couple water slides and come back.
I also don't know how it works in those water parks during the summer when, those 2 hours in mid-afternoon, right, where it's just going to be a storm.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to be in a pool when it's lightning. They shut down the pools.
They do.
They shut down the pools at the resorts. So I don't know how that whole park would even work. But, I'm interested to see what happens and whether or not that incentive actually does sway people. Because they're going to need to do something, because a 10% increase in ticket costs is not cheap. Like, for the first time ever, a one-day ticket for Magic Kingdom has, depending on the day, but you may spend more than $200 to go to Magic Kingdom for a day.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
The last thing I'll add here before we go to the halftime show is, let's say a family's never been to either water park, okay? All right, Nick's family's going in July. They're staying on property. Do you get that benefit, or is that next year? It's next year, right?
It'd be next year.
Yeah. So Nick's family next year is their DVC.
I think it's next year.
So we'll just use you as an example because I know for a fact you're going to be staying on property. So Nick's family's staying on property. They arrive noon. They go over to the water parks. Nick's family has never been to Typhoon Lagoon or Blizzard Beach. They go. Turns out they love it, and they're having a great time. And next year, when him and his wife go to book, then they're talking with the kids. His daughter pipes up and says, I loved Blizzard Beach. Let's do it again. So what that's doing is, it's almost like a sampler. You know what I mean?
Well, I think it's trying to open the eyes of people that, hey, you keep saying you want a fifth gate. We have 6 gates.
But this could also work in the opposite way, too. People could go and be like, this sucks. There's Band-Aids floating in the water. That's like my family joke when we go to the indoor water parks. Like,
yeah.
But it's not. I'll be fair. It's not. At least when I went in the 90s, it was.
No Baby Ruths floating by.
No Baby Ruths. Nope. It was very, very clean. And yeah. We'll talk about that another time, too. I still wish they had the shark swimming. That was awesome.
Yeah.
We talk about that all the time.
I do think that it is calculated by Disney. Somebody figured out, that the math was mathin', and that this would possibly make them money. They don't do anything that's not going to make them money.
Right.
So, but we're going to head off to the halftime show. The halftime show this week is brought to you by Stacy. So go over and check her out on Instagram. She is a travel agent, actually. So
cool.
You should go check her out.
Yeah. I've said before in the show that we've booked through Travel Agent before, and it's been super easy. Didn't cost us a thing, and they do a great job. And a lot of times they can get discounts that we maybe can't find.
Right.
So
Well, they can help you with navigating even like the digital stuff, which changed this week, but we can talk about that maybe after the halftime show a little bit.
yeah, sounds good.
So, all right, Stacy, thank you so much for being a very supportive patron of ours. So go check out Stacy over on Instagram, Exploring Kingdoms, and she can help you out with booking your next trip. So we're going to head off to the halftime show, and we'll see you when we get back. Welcome back. Today we're going to count down, or actually not count down, we're going to tell you all the results of your voting on our Instagram feed.
We're so used to saying that.
Yeah, counting down. Well, it's kind of a countdown. We're whittling things down from 16 attractions over at Animal Kingdom down to 1.
We're whittling down to a sharp blade of success.
Wow, that was deep.
I don't know.
Speaking of deep, I don't know, that wasn't really a good transition. I was just...
No, let's pick another one.
Yeah.
Speaking of
whittling down.
Sure. Speaking of sharp.
Streamlining.
There you go.
There we go.
That's the best one.
Streamlining.
Yeah, that works.
They made some adjustments on my Disney experience this week.
Your Disney experience?
Yes, mine.
Wait, you have your own?
Yeah.
Sorry, it's
This is turning into...
No, I've always thought that was the goofiest name.
Yeah.
I know you say Abbott Costello.
No, this is turning into a Patreon episode right now.
I thought you were saying who's on first.
So if you go into my Disney experience, you open it up. It looks normal, right?
I'm looking at it right now. Yeah.
Doesn't look as though it's changed.
If you're not driving and you're listening, you can look along with us.
Mm-hmm. If you click on the stack, the hamburger stack, I call it.
Mm-hmm. I call them the pancakes.
Yeah. We've had this discussion before.
Yeah.
So anyway, in the upper right-hand corner, it says, big giant letters, LL. Yeah. It used to say tip board, right?
Oh, yeah.
Which, not for nothing, but if you're looking to make a lightning lane, you're probably not thinking, I have to go to the tip board, and from the tip board, I have to go to today's attraction. Like, you click there, and it brings you right to it. So that's kind of cool.
Let's see what I have available.
There's a lot available right now.
All
Astro Orbiter.
35 minutes?
Yeah.
Would you want to wait 35 minutes?
No.
And ride up a stinky elevator with a bunch of sweaty?
No, I would not. You can get a lightning lane right now for Space Ranger Spin, although the standby line is just 20 minutes.
Then why? Then why would you do it?
I wouldn't. So yeah, they streamlined that, and then the other thing that they made an update. This is also an IT thing, and I don't know if it was part of the same rollout. But when you reserve dining now, you can actually look at multiple days.
Yeah, I heard that they, instead of clicking lunchtime, now you can say, they'll show you all the available times.
That's old.
Is it?
I shouldn't say old. That happened months ago.
Okay.
And then now you can look at multiple days at once. So you don't just have to look at let's say you're going on a trip and you're 60 days out. And you want to go to Cinderella's Royal Table.
Sure.
And you'd like to go there on day 2. And you click on that day, and it's booked. Well, by the time you go and check the next time you're going to be at Magic Kingdom, that one's booked as well. But had you been able to look at them both at the same time, you may have been able to book that. So
makes sense.
My understanding is you'll be able to look at multiple days at a time. I haven't checked it out. I haven't, messed around with it, but that's kind of cool. And I think that those are positive changes in Disney IT.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is more than I can say for ESPN Plus, which is a Disney product, and that has been bugging the heck out of me lately. But anyway.
I've never really been a huge fan of that. I don't feel like there's much of anything there.
No, there was an article I wanted to read, and I couldn't log in, so I actually
I've had that problem too, and I was subscribed to it. I'm not now, but I was.
It was an infinite loop. It was continue reading. I clicked it. It said, sign in. I signed in. Then it said, continue reading. Yep. I clicked it, and it said, sign in.
Yeah.
And it was an infinite loop. So I, messaged them and messaged Disney via, Twitter. I was like, hey, your apps are maddening. You need to get different people in your IT department.
Yeah.
So anyway, I know that's a big digression, but anyhow. So let's get talking about these results, because this week was... The first round was kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
You texted me and you were like, these are funny.
Yeah, that was my wife's comment. These are not these matchups are kind of funny.
Well, it's not even so much the matchups. It's how much they were getting blown out of the water.
Yeah.
So let's see here. I got to pull mine up.
Where do you want to start?
Oh,
here?
where do you want to start? You have
Let's start with an obvious one. Well, that's not necessarily, because I enjoy meeting Kevin. Kevin always gets me excited, but meeting Kevin does not create the same amount of excitement as Expedition Everest does for me. So it looks like, are we looking at the same spot? Are you in? He's almost in now.
Yeah.
So at the top, I'm looking at the very top of the bracket right now, where we started with Expedition Everest and meeting Kevin, and it looks here like these are percentages, I'm assuming, or these
Those
numbers?
are percentages, yep.
So, they do add up to 100. So 86% for Expedition Everest and 14 for meeting Kevin. So, of course, like, those results are what I figured, but that's kind of a funny matchup, because you could put meeting Kevin up against, we'll say, Kali River Rapids or Dinosaur, and Kevin could win. You know what I mean? Like, there's some that are landslides.
Yes, but
right?
here's the thing.
Sure.
Does the number one, women's basketball, okay?
Mm-hmm.
UConn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perennially
Yeah.
great program.
Right. Is UConn going to match up against another tough, team in the first round?
No.
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
this is what happens when meeting Kevin's in our top 16.
Yeah.
But meeting Kevin's not gonna. It's got to match up against one of the higher ones.
Right. Plus, you can't wait in line for meeting Kevin. Meeting Kevin just exists.
It just happens.
Yeah. And if you're this far and you don't know who Kevin is, I will tell you who Kevin is. Kevin is the giant bird from the movie Up that walks around with a handler and is a really cool. It's part puppet and part person in that costume, but it's pretty incredible. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. I need to be better at not just jumping into what these things are. And I have to explain what they are sometimes.
It's one of the better walk around characters that Disney has.
Yes.
And the fact that it got 14% is still pretty impressive.
Well,
going up against Everest,
those 14% maybe are not roller coaster fans.
Well, clearly.
Yeah.
But next one you want to do is Tam Tam Drummers.
Sure.
Versus Discovery Island Trails.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I will tell you right now.
Sure.
I'm a huge fan of Tam Tam Drummers. I love sitting there and watching them in Africa.
Have you joined in?
No.
I have.
You mean, you're talking about the dancers, right? Or are you talking about the drummers?
Oh, no, I guess I can't join in with the drummers. I'm thinking that it's the performers right outside.
Yeah.
Where you and I had.
Yes.
We kind of sat down and have a drink.
Yeah, at Dawa Bar.
And then the leader, who I've seen that same guy multiple times, pulls you in and has people dance.
Yes, correct.
So that is Tam Tam Drummers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yes, I have participated in that. They
yeah.
pulled me out of the crowd, and I did not volunteer, but I am a good sport, and my kids were cracking up, and my wife was taking pictures.
Listen, they don't go into the crowd. You have to have been standing around the horseshoe of people watching them.
Yes, I was.
And had to look a little eager.
No.
Oh, come on.
No.
I know you well enough.
No, not this time.
So it was Tam Tam Drummers versus Discovery Island Trails, and Discovery Island Trails won 73-27.
Okay.
And I'm actually kind of surprised by that.
Yeah.
Because there's not a lot that's in the Discovery Island Trails. They're kind of like the forgotten trails.
Yes. Which I've done part of one time, I think.
Yeah, because that's just the ones by the Tree of Life.
I wonder if that was one where people weren't sure what that is, and they just clicked one. I don't know.
Or they don't even know. Maybe they
where
don't,
that is, or
they don't know the Tam Tam Drummers, so they haven't done. Because if you're not spending a lot of time over at the Dawa Bar, you might not even know.
Yeah.
So, but that one was I wouldn't say a surprise, but I thought Tam Tam Drummers would do better. Now this next one, I am shocked that there was even one vote for the. So here were the we're gonna match up people that were. So you have
real animals versus
So you have,
animal costumes.
So Festival of the Lion King versus the Affection Section,
which is the petting zoo over
at Rafiki's Planet Watch.
Yeah, which is fine.
And I want to know if you voted for the Affection Section. Please reach out to me because I want to know if you've ever even seen Festival of the Lion King. because the fact that Festival of Lion King didn't have a clean sweep. This was one where I was watching, waiting. Like, oh yeah, like when I went to bed that night, I checked, and Festival of Lion King still had 100%. I was like, we're gonna have our first sweep, our first shutout. And then the next morning, I wake up, and it's like there were like 4 people who had voted affection section, and by the end of the day, it evened out to 90-10.
Wow.
Like 10% of the people who voted on that voted affection section. Petting a stinky goat you can pet at your local like hardware store in the spring when they do the chick sales and stuff like that, and the goats. And
I remember petting the goat.
not hardware store, but the Tractor Supply.
And that poor goat was like hot to the touch.
Yeah.
I remember petting that thing going, wow, that goat was hot.
Yeah.
Poor thing.
It's black. So
Yes,
like
I know. It was hot.
Yeah. Hey, look, I guess to each their own. I love Festival of the Lion King. I'm not shy about
Me
saying
too.
that.
It's awesome.
It's an amazing show.
Yeah, that music is...
Yeah. I mean, and the performers are great.
Oh, yeah. I like that they brought back...
The tumbling.
Yeah,
the tumbling monkeys.
Yeah. Oh, that part's awesome.
Yeah. It's so good, that show. I don't know. Now this, I know probably upset you. Gorilla Falls Exploration Trails versus the animation experience.
It's okay. I don't think enough people have done it to vote for it. That's why it didn't upset me.
But 70-30 shows you that, like, because look, Gorilla Falls Exploration Trails
It's great, and I love it too.
Amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
But
yeah, I voted animation just because it's a highlight of our trip, but I do not have any problem with having somebody vote for Gorilla Falls instead.
Yeah, I just think that the whole, I don't know, the experience in the back is just so cool. We actually had a patron reach out this week that they had done it, and they got pixie dusted the artist's drawing at the end.
Great. That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Really cool.
Because they're all actual Disney animators who do that.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool. But, I mean, the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail is good, but I don't think it's as unique an experience as animation experience.
And to be fair, some people are not art people. And that's okay. You know, I am, and
yeah, I mean, I
our
enjoyed
whole
it.
family is. And
Yeah.
Your family's pretty artistic too.
Flight of Passage versus Kali River Rapids.
Well, we were laughing at Affection Station getting 10%. We have one that got a single digit, and it's not Flight of Passage.
No, we have 2 that got single digits, actually. There's no.
Oh, yeah, that's true. But one even lower.
Yeah. Flight of Passage got 91% of the vote to Kali River Rapids 9. I think you got it right here, folks.
Well,
You definitely got it right here.
we do Kali River Rapids, and I don't know, we've done it 2 or 3 times, and it's okay.
Yeah.
We got to be in the right mood for it. We got to be okay getting wet. We brought a change of clothes the time because we were kind of planning that we were going to do it.
I'll do it. Like this
gotta be
summer, I'll
ready.
probably do it with my brother and his wife. But it's not, I don't know, it's just not, it's in big, giant family-style raft rides, it is not even as good as some of the local parks we have around here that have those same rides. So that's why I just don't, and sometimes it's spinning, sometimes it's not. Sometimes you get wet, sometimes you're completely bone dry. It's just, I don't know, it's hit or miss. It really is. And I don't think it's themed well. I understand the idea behind the theming. I just don't think it's themed well.
Well, it was supposed to be twice as long. I mean, there's all the area behind it that was all planned to be a longer ride for it. I don't know. And I did not do Grizzly River Run when we were at California Adventure, which is nearly an identical ride to it. But it looked, I don't know, that one just, looked a little bit more fun. I don't know why.
Yeah, it could have been. So this is the closest matchup of the first round, this next one.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it is.
Finding Nemo, The Big Blue and Beyond versus Dinosaur, the ride. And this was, I think, 4 votes or 5 votes separated them. No, it had to be more than that because I had over 100 votes. So it's 53% Finding Nemo, 47% Dinosaur. That was closer than I thought.
I voted Dinosaur.
I voted Nemo, so we whipped each other out.
Because I've talked about this on the show before. Dinosaur has become such a fun joke within our family that it's so bad it's awesome.
Oh yeah,
that we're yelling the whole time and trying to figure out which one is not our dino, which is every dinosaur,
Yeah.
and we scream it every time.
Yeah.
We are very annoying on that ride.
www.magicmerch.art magicmerch77.etsy.com for your Not Our Dino shirt. No, just kidding. We were watching the Animal Kingdom early entry thing that we were talking about in the opening with Ear Scouts, and they go on dinosaur or whatever, and my wife, I was like, oh, I don't like this ride. I'm like, it's just so weird. And she goes, I laughed the whole time. I was like, you liked it? She goes, no, I laughed because I couldn't figure out, am I really on a ride like this is a Disney ride?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I know, right? She's like, it was awful. It was so bad, it's good.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of what why people like it is because it's so bad, it's good.
We turned into a fun joke and yelling along the way, and it's almost comical how aggressive that car just shakes you around.
Mm-hmm.
It's my best way to describe it for people who've never ridden dinosaur is it's like when you go to those country western bars and you get on the back of the bucking bronco thing and it rides you around.
Mechanical bull?
Yes, it reminds me of a mechanical bull. Think about how aggressively it just bounces you back and forth.
You're not. I mean, I guess you're really not wrong.
I mean, that's an extreme example, but it's a comparison that's close.
Not all that far off.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh, and to be fair, if they retheme it on the West Coast, the Indiana Jones version does that, but it's very smooth and it's very minimal. So maybe that'll improve. I don't know. So yeah, 53 for Nemo, which I haven't seen the update yet. You have, I have not. And 47% dinosaur. And I'm not anti-Nemo, but dinosaur's just kind of a funny joke.
I will tell you right now, the Finding Nemo show is really, really good. They did redo it. Remember how we talked about this on the show before.
Mm-hmm.
You asked if they came out on Crush or they come out in the back of the Ray.
Well, I want to know if the giant, was it a pelican? The giant pelican comes out? Is that the enormous?
No, now it's
but it was, right?
I think so.
I think from the top right, they have the giant pelican come out.
Oh, well, that's some of that stuff still happens, but
Well, that's good.
but it's a great show. And the people who are in it, like the actual performers, are phenomenal. The next one, Kilimanjaro Safaris.
This is the biggest win.
Versus It's Tough to Be a Bug.
Yeah.
This was not fair.
Yeah. No.
This was like, I joked with Yukon in the first round matchup. This is like if the Chicago Bulls from like
93.
Yeah. Probably actually from 93.
Yeah.
But like the Chicago Bulls from back in the day were playing our local high school or maybe our JV team.
Sure.
That's pretty much what just happened because Kilimanjaro Safaris won 93-7 over It's Tough to Be a Bug.
Yeah.
And I think those 7 people voted for It's Tough to Be a Bug as a joke. They had to.
Yeah.
Like maybe they just were like, haha, let's see what happens. There's not a lot to discuss there. Not a lot.
No.
I will say this because it's the only time we're going to say It's Tough to Be a Bug today. I don't mind that show. I don't mind that attraction.
I'm fine with it too, but there's a lot of people that are scared by the spiders. They're scared by
the things at the end, the pokes.
Where they, I don't know what it is, but it's something on the back of your seat. I'm not sure if they shoot out. It's not air.
No, they do the air stuff, but the thing on the back of your seat is like literally, I think, not sharp, but little pokey things that kind of barely come out a little bit. I think. Maybe I could be wrong. Maybe it is air, but I don't think it's air because it feels like it's actually hard.
Well, someone reach out that knows what that is and let us know.
The next one, the last one in the first round, Maharaja Jungle Trek versus Meet Mickey and Minnie at the Outfitters or Outpost, whatever you want to call it, Safari Outfits.
Yep.
In their safari outfits. Here's the deal. I love the trails, but this is my one thing I would say is I want to meet Mickey and Minnie in those outfits.
Yep.
It's the first time I met Mickey and Minnie. It's the first time my kids met Mickey and Minnie.
So that's a special one for you.
But it's just so unique. So that's why I would vote Mickey and Minnie, not Maharaja Jungle Trek.
I would vote Maharaja Jungle Trek because that one has the tigers, and going to see the tigers is my favorite.
Yeah, because you never see them almost ever.
Well, and we've told the story before that the last time that I went, we had a very I'm trying to think of the right adjective here. We could say difficult. We could say rude. We could say clueless.
Yeah.
Family who were standing at the glass and just wouldn't leave.
Yeah.
They just stood there and they were just never thought, hey, maybe someone else wants to watch.
Yeah. It was packed that day.
Right. And I'm not going to start a fist fight at Disney. So
Right, yeah.
I just went, this sucks, and moved on. So,
Yeah. And it wasn't a family of kids.
no.
That's the thing.
No, it was 2 adults. And I mean, there were kids, but there was definitely 2 large people standing in front and blocking. We couldn't see the tiger at all.
But that takes care of our first round. The second round's going to have some stuff that people, second and third rounds are going to have some stuff that people are going to be like, what just happened? Let's go back up to the top of the bracket.
Yep.
Everest with Discovery Island Trails.
Mm-hmm.
Discovery Island Trails are great. They are not Everest.
Right. And again,
so,
88%, 12%, those 12% are people that are not roller coaster people.
Yeah.
Gotta be.
Yeah. And like the Discovery Island Trails are
Fine.
they're fine. You know, I think honestly the best part about Discovery Island Trail is because you're getting closer to the tree, and so you can see more of the animals. You know what I mean? The carvings.
Speaking of which, that's probably the best part about Tough to Be a Bug is walking around and looking at and identifying all the animals.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I enjoy that.
Yeah.
That would be I think we did
It's
best
worth it to
queue
go
at some point.
It's worth
That's one of the best queues.
Yeah, it's worth it to go through that queue.
Yeah.
Not even if you're going to go to the show, just go through the queue. So yeah, Discovery Island Trails got 12%, Everest got 88%, and the next one, the Lion King versus Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail.
Mm-hmm.
Lion King definitely gave up some votes this time. And I see this a little bit more, right? Because the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trails are, of the trails there, that's my favorite trail.
This is the one that starts off with the birds, correct?
Yeah, the gorillas in the middle. There's like the, well, yeah, yes, correct.
Yeah, birds at the beginning. You kind of see some other animals. It curves around at the very end. Yeah, well, no, at the end is the gorillas. They're at
Well, it depends. There's two. I mean, you can go from either end.
That's true. That's I didn't think of that way. I always enter in that one direction.
Yeah.
So when I say the birds at the beginning, that's not necessarily true.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. But it did well. 24% versus Lion King. Lion King got 76%. This was a tough one for me. I didn't actually vote on this because it was too tough for me to pick between the two. But I would say, I think the people got it right because Lion King is so epic. But Gorilla Falls is really good.
I voted Lion King for this one.
No shock in this next one either. Flight of Passage had like an easy cakewalk the first 2 rounds. The next one it had was Finding Nemo, The Big Blue and Beyond.
Yeah.
And it beat it 92-8. Yeah. So far, Flight of Passage has kept its opponents to 1-digit percents.
Yeah. It won the first round by 91%. It won the second round by 92%.
I mean, this is a no-brainer, right?
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
So, like, if we think about what we talked about last week with Magic Kingdom and how in Magic Kingdom they had we talked about how the wait times, right? If you looked at wait times and used wait times to try to predict who would win, you know, it wouldn't have turned out the way we wanted to.
Yeah. Because
Animal
of
Kingdom,
Mine Train, yeah.
Animal Kingdom, it's the opposite. Like, Flight of Passage is the most popular ride in that park.
And the longest wait.
And guess what? It's cruising. Mm-hmm. And the second longest wait usually in that park is Kilimanjaro Safari.
Yeah, not even Everest.
Right. Yeah. Kilimanjaro Safari. And Kilimanjaro Safari is also going to cakewalk.
Yeah.
There, it was up against the Maharaja Jungle Trek. And it's like, see tigers or see lions and gators and hippos and rhinos and elephants and everything on the safari. Safari wins hands down 96% to 4%.
Biggest win.
Yes. Very big win. And it set up a pretty ridiculous, very ridiculous Final Four or a semifinal matchup between Flight of Passage and Kilimanjaro Safaris. And we'll get to that second. I'm going to talk about that in a moment.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Everest versus Lion King.
Yeah. So let's do our final four.
Yep.
So
our final four.
Here's our final four here.
Yep. Everest, Lion King, they're going to match up against each other. And then Flight of Passage and Kilimanjaro Safari are going to line up against each other.
So you want to start with Everest versus Lion King?
Yep.
Okay. So listeners, who do you think won? Say it out loud.
I think it was Everest.
Our listeners are correct.
Okay.
They all said that out loud.
Yeah,
I
all did.
I could hear them.
I think they got this right.
Yeah.
Everest is my favorite roller coaster, I think, on property. Cosmic Rewind. But
yep.
Traditional.
I was ready to agree with you until you said that.
Yeah. But the reality is that Lion King's pretty darn close to being a top 5 attraction for me. It's a must do for me. It's certainly top 10 attraction in all of Disney World.
Really?
Yeah.
For you?
I love that.
Wow.
You don't like Lion King?
I like Lion King. It's not a top 10, but I like it.
I think it's top 10 for me.
Wow.
I mean, I'm trying to think why it wouldn't be. I mean, one, two, three.
I have 10 more I would pick before Lion King, but I love Lion King. But there's 10 more I love more than Lion King.
I would say that it's up. It's something I will never not do except for when it's closed, like it was closed when we went.
Yeah, that was a bummer.
But I mean, it's so good.
Yeah,
the performances are amazing.
Agree.
And Animal Kingdom is a pretty hot park, and that is a
good place to cool off.
That is a very cool, long time attraction. You go in there.
Nemo also. That's another one.
Yep, Nemo's great for that.
Well, and the benefit of that auditorium is you can pack so many people in there.
Into which one?
Into the Nemo theater.
Yeah. I wonder which one you can get more in. I think you can get more in Lion King.
I think Nemo.
Nemo's bigger, but it's only in one spot, whereas Lion King wraps around in a full circle.
Is it worth looking it up or no?
No.
Okay.
It's not worth looking up.
All right.
But either way, I think the people got it right. Everest over Lion King, 73%. Mm-hmm. Everest, 27% Lion King.
But you would probably consider Everest in your top 10 all of Disney World also. So these two, although they're matching up against each other, would still be in your top 10.
Everest is my top 5 probably.
I think it is for me also.
Yeah.
I think it would be probably 5 or 6.
Yeah. It's way up there. It's got the nostalgia for me from memories with my kids. It's got the thrill. It reminds me of a ride I went on early in my roller coaster years. It's called the Boomerang. It's a popular one at Six Flags parks. It's been copy and pasted at multiple Six Flags parks, so that's why I said the name Boomerang. You may have ridden it. Now, if the listeners got the last one right, I'm not sure they got this one right.
Yeah. So we can have them say it out loud here. Okay. Yeah. So we have Flight of Passage versus Kilimanjaro Safari. Okay. Say out loud if you're driving around.
Yeah.
What do you think it is?
Look in the back and tell your kids what you think it is.
Kids, I think it's Kilimanjaro Safari. Husband or wife or spouse, significant other, fiance sitting next to me. It's Flight of Passage. What is it? What are you saying out loud right now?
Well,
they're not saying it. There's one person driving who's not saying it right now.
Yeah.
Come on, say it now. Give them a minute. Okay, good. Thank you.
Right, that was enough wait time.
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna get that point in our observation. Proper
teacher observations.
Yeah. We just did it. I have to submit I have to sign that observation form on Monday.
Nick, you're a highly effective teacher.
Yeah. Flight of Passage won. Flight of Passage won over Kilimanjaro Safari.
I can see it though.
I don't.
Yeah, I voted for Flight of Passage here. I like Kilimanjaro Safari, but I like those, blockbuster, big gun attractions most of the time.
So I got messages. Sure. From people on this one.
But again, I'm not saying anyone writing these messages are wrong or you are wrong.
No.
They are both great. And this is an opinion-based thing. My opinion is Flight of Passage. Yours is not.
I got a message.
That's fine.
Yeah. I got a message that was like, "Dear God, this better not turn out the way it's turning out." And I was like, well, you better tell your friends to come vote then, because it doesn't look good. And I mean, because at that point we had so many votes, it was like the chances of us. The reality was at that point, because there were so many votes, that to overturn it was going to take. I mean, because it was.
Did we say the percentage yet?
No, 55-45.
Wow.
55-45. Flight of Passage won.
Wow.
Oh, I take that back. Sorry, that's not right.
54-46.
54-46. Yep.
I thought you had an updated version because I was looking at those numbers. And
I do.
Because you're the one that plugged them in, so I didn't doubt you.
So, for some reason, the percents did change. Like, I've got it here. It says 55-45, but I did not put those down in the... I know it was 54-46. So I wonder if something happened when I was scrolling through the stories. But either way,
the results did not change.
No, it did not change. And the number of votes that separated them were like over 10 votes. So
we had really good participation. So quick side note to our listeners, thank you.
Yeah, it's been good.
Like,
it's been great.
It wasn't just me and Nick and my wife and Nick's
There
wife voting. It was everybody.
Some surprise people voting. I was like looking at the results the other day, and I texted you, and I was like, "Holy cow! This girl's like on like one of the biggest YouTube shows for Disney, and she's voting on our story."
What about our semi-famous friend Tom Bullman from Bull Airs?
I don't know if
he voted too.
I don't know, but I don't see his vote there. But yeah, that we had a really good participation. So yes, definitely thank you. So that set up an interesting final.
Yeah. So our final now we have Expedition Everest versus Flight of Passage.
And I don't think I told you the result.
You did not.
And I didn't fill in the blanks.
Nick and I and our wives were the four of us were all friends. We got together last night and we were chatting a little bit. And let's just say you were a little fired up
over this.
Yeah. And I don't think you told me, but you're like, I got some words for the show, and I've been waiting for this to hear.
Well, my words were for the last two rounds.
Okay. Specifically, Flight of Passage and Kilimanjaro Safari. You were fired up about.
I'm fired up about that, and I'm fired up about this.
Okay.
I just typed it into the sheet so you can see it now.
Oh yeah. I would say I wouldn't. I know the way I voted, and it wasn't this way.
Yeah.
So people listening.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Flight of Passage.
Yeah.
Versus Everest.
Say out loud who you think. I'm serious. You got to commit to it.
Yeah.
You're committing right now. Who's the winner?
On 3,
2, 1.
Everest. No. Guess what? Flight of Passage won.
Yes. Flight of Passage won.
Listen, I understand Flight of Passage is good. Flight of Passage is not better than Kilimanjaro Safaris and Everest.
Yeah,
I disagree.
I voted for Everest.
I disagree with these.
Yeah,
it
was close though. But I would have an issue if it were even 60-65%. That would be a bigger margin. This is still I don't know. It's a margin of 5.
I want to know. I think it's younger people voting. Right? It's gotta be.
I have no idea.
I know so many. I have a listener.
We're gonna get some messages from this.
Yeah,
and it's gonna be interesting.
We have a listener friend who reached out about last week's show, who was not last week's, a couple weeks ago when we were talking about Star Tours.
Yeah.
Okay. Or maybe it was last week, and I had talked about the new scenes going into Star Tours. I don't remember, but either way,
yeah,
they basically said, I can't ride Star Tours. It makes me sick to my stomach.
Well, that's like me trying to play Fortnite. I get sick.
Right. So, I mean, this ride, I would have expected Flight of Passage to have that same impact on a sizable enough demographic.
Sure.
Sizable enough group that Everest would win. But I guess I'm wrong. I stand by the fact that Everest is one of the best roller coasters on property.
For a lot of reasons.
It might be 2.
Backwards. Or so many great things.
It's way up there.
Yeah.
It might be 2 or 3. It depends on what the day is for me. But it's better than Space Mountain. It's better than Seven Dwarves. I think it's better than Rock and Roller Coaster, personally. For a number of reasons. It's better than Slinky Dog.
Yep.
And we got Flight of Passage beating it out. Now, Flight of Passage is an amazing attraction.
It is.
It's an amazing attraction.
And depending on the matchup, I would have picked Flight of Passage, depending on the way that it would have gone. But out of every attraction on this list for Animal Kingdom, you say you can only pick one. You get everything, pick one. It's this for me.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. So we're not that far removed from our show where we did our top 5 attractions at Animal Kingdom.
And I think we both picked this as our number 1, didn't we?
No, Everest as our number 1.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So like I went Everest,
Yeah.
Kilimanjaro Safari, and then Flight of Passage.
Did I? I don't even remember.
And so
I could go either way with 2 or 3. I like them both.
For me, like the fact that Flight of Passage beat both of those out
Yeah.
just is a shocker to me. Now, I will say that
I mean, what's your call to action with listeners now? What do you want to know?
I want to know, like I want them to write in, like leave a message on an Instagram post or just message us if you voted for Flight of Passage over Everest or over Kilimanjaro Safari. I want to know why. Why?
Sure.
Like, why is just and not because you're wrong, because I want to know what about Flight of Passage is better than Safari.
I'll tell you the opposite. The reason, if I were to give a why on why I would pick one over the other, is just the excitement and the thrill. There's more of a thrill, whereas, I mean, there's a little bit of thrill in Flight of Passage, but it's more like the smell. It's very relaxing. The music is relaxing. You know, you're flying around in the back of a banshee. It's like, it's kind of a fun, like euphoric feeling versus going 1,000 miles an hour backwards. Like that's so awesome.
Yeah. My issue too with the round before that was with the Safari. Like, have you ever been on a better Safari? Unless you've been to Africa, I don't know that you've been on a better Safari.
I don't know if I've been on a safari. Well, we actually have one
Not that
relatively near to us.
Have you been to that one?
No, I don't like that stuff. I don't like them because, oh my gosh, and it's related.
I've been there.
It sounds like I'm going off the rails, but I'm not. And then I want to hear your story.
Yeah.
So we love watching Funniest Home Videos on Sunday night. It's like
Yeah.
our thing. We always watch it. My wife and I crack up, and like anytime anyone wipes out, I crack up. But then every single week, there's one of these videos where the window goes down and some crazy animal sticks their head in their car, sneezes, like attacks or like licks something. It's just every time we go,
Yeah.
my wife and I go, what is wrong? Like, don't go to these things. But does that count as a safari?
So I'm the one near us
Sure.
that I think you're talking about.
It's near Buffalo.
It's between here and Buffalo.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So it's the one. It's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That one you don't drive your own car through.
Okay.
You get in a safari-like vehicle, just like
Really?
just like you do at Animal Kingdom, and it's
Okay.
all just cattle. It's like cattle. I think they might have a zebra or two.
Zebra's on
and-
the sign for that place.
Yeah, and then they have some camels and
They have
stuff
any,
like
like
that.
water buffalo or anything like
Oh yeah,
that?
they have like when I say cattle, I mean different
I know.
cattle from around the world.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of.
Yeah, they have like the kudu and like they have stuff that you can see at Animal Kingdom, but they don't have giraffes walking around. They don't have like, but it's kind of. But I've been on one. So near Montreal, there is a place called Park Safari, and you drive your car through, and they you get your bucket of food.
Oh,
It's
no,
just
thank
like
you.
it's
No,
just
thank
like
Funniest
it
Home
is just
Videos.
like Funniest Home Videos. And you got the camels coming in licking. You got the
No, thank
llamas.
you.
You got
It's
the giraffes. You've got
gross.
the
Ugh.
monkeys.
It's gonna ruin my car.
There's monkeys that would. I'm not even kidding you.
My vehicle's leased.
They had people. I know people who've gone there and had their windshield wipers taken off by the monkeys.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's so bad. Like it's not. The fact that it still exists and that PETA hasn't shut that place down.
Oh my god.
Maybe it's because it's in Canada. I don't know, but it's just south of Montreal.
Does the Toronto Zoo have something like the Toronto Zoo is awesome.
I mean,
We went there maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I'm trying to remember if they have anything like that. I don't think they do.
most zoos now don't do that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But like, because they would get not shut down, but the backlash would be so great.
Yeah.
But yeah, this place called Park Safari. If you're Canadian and you live near Montreal and you've probably been there, it's insane. And there's a petting zoo, just like the affection section there. I once got attacked by a baby goat when I was on a field trip. I swear to you.
It run into you from the back.
No, it like latched onto my ear, like it was nursing on my ear, on my
Ow.
earlobe, and wouldn't let go.
That's why you don't have an earlobe?
Yeah, it's gone. My mom still laughs about that to this day. remember the time that the baby goat latched onto your ear and wouldn't let go? I'm like, yeah, I do. It traumatized me, Mom. I was in 4th grade.
When we were at the Toronto Zoo when I was little, I was right up at the front, and an elephant charged the fence, and there were so many people that I couldn't get out of the way, and the elephant like rammed right where I was, scared me to death. I was so afraid for so long of elephants. Now I'm not, but yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
We both have
similar traumatizing events as children with animals.
Yeah.
Animal Kingdom is a great park. I'm excited to go. Like when we do these and people vote on stuff, and whether I get fired up about it or not, what I want to say is it reinvigorates my desire to go. You know what I mean? Like I always want to go, but like when we talk about this, like now I want to ride Safari and Flight of Passage and be like, is it really better? Is Flight of Passage really better? Or now I want to ride Everest and Flight of Passage and compare. Is it, what's better actually?
Well, here's my 2 cents on Animal Kingdom. I think with your average Disney goer, you're so used to checking all the boxes and saying, I did this attraction, I did this attraction. Where you're, especially if you do Magic Kingdom first, which we always do, you want to bang out as many rides as you can. I mean, that's kind of the way we work. But I think the important thing when you go to Animal Kingdom is you can still do that, but I think Animal Kingdom is the park where you just have to like turn down the volume and just say, okay, we're not going to race. It's if the line for Flight of Passage is an hour and a half and you don't want to wait that long, that's okay. But where else are you going to go? Waiting in line stinks, but like walk around, relax. Like it's the park where you don't have to go 1,000 miles an hour.
Well, let's take this full circle. We opened up the show today talking about Ear Scout's new video.
Right.
And we said that if you followed Eric's plan, he could have been done by like 10:30 or some crazy number. It was early.
But do you need to?
But my point is, if you can be done with the rides by then, that gives you a whole day to relax.
Yeah, it's a really good point.
And like that park is one of my favorite things, and I didn't put it on the bracket, but one of my favorite things is literally just sitting at the Dawa bar with water, with beer, with whatever you want. I don't care. It doesn't have to be an alcoholic beverage. Sitting there, watching people walk by, listening to the tam tam drummers, watching the acrobats, the Harambe, what are they called? The Harambe acrobats, something like that, whatever. Just interacting like that and just sitting there. Seeing people walk by, see somebody go by in a Bills jersey, go Bills, and they yell, and it's like, but it's like a cool spot.
Yeah,
you can walk. You can get food at Dawa if you wanted to. You can walk down and get the grilled corn, the African spiced corn.
Yep,
on a cob. And it's like, who's gonna eat corn on a cob at a park? Guess what?
I would.
I know, but I was like, who's gonna eat corn on a park? I'm not eating corn. Right. Well, I thought, hold on, I'm getting there. I thought this is a silly treat. My wife got it, came back. She's like, oh my God, this is the best corn I've ever had. And I'm like, come on. Like, we live in corn country. Like, we live.
We do.
Like, you literally can walk out your door
and grab
during the summer and grab
ears
of sweet corn that are literally going to be in people's freezers that are listening to us right now. Like, it's
we're 30 yards from corn.
Like, quite literally, like the stuff that's going to end up in canned corn that says Green Giant on it.
Yeah, Bird's Eye. They have a
Bird's Eye. Yeah.
No, we're getting off the rails. But the field behind me, they have a deal with Bird's Eye food.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was Bird's Eye or Green Giant, but I knew it was one of the big ones.
Yeah.
So, like, literally, you're eating corn from Rob's backyard, and I'm not being that is not hyperbole.
No, it's
at
true.
all.
It's true.
But like, I was like, I'm not eating corn at Disney. It can't be good. And she came back and gave me a bite of this corn, and I was like, holy cow! By then, the line was too long. I was like, I'm not waiting that line for corn, but I might. Like, don't tempt me.
So they roast it and then they slice it vertically?
Well, no, it's on the cob still.
Oh, okay. But I thought, you know what I mean, where you take the knife and slice from top to bottom and you get a chunk?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I was just discussing and ate off my wife's cob. It is what it is.
Okay.
I don't care.
All right.
But the reality is that it's so good just to sit there and relax in that park. Like, here's something I've never even done there. Because I don't like this part of the park. But I've never done like the carnival games there.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I would do them. I don't know. But like just sitting, that park is the park that, for me, Dawa Bar is right below Baseline Tap House for me. in like places to just sit and chill and watch.
It is.
Just watch the world go by.
You and I did that. It was a lot of fun. You and I hung out. And
Yeah, because you can just sit there and talk, and you don't feel rushed in that park. I love it.
We ate popcorn. I remember I went over and tried to do some pin trading. Like,
yes,
it was great. We just chilled there for a while. It was fun.
It's a great spot. I love that part of the park, and I love that park for that part, right? Because there's not just that spot. You can go and sit at Nomad Lounge. You can go and sit, on a bench anywhere, pretty much. But like, it's a different feel there.
Mm-hmm.
It is not like the other parks where it's go, 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 go. It's just sit and watch the world go by. And that's why I think it's not a half-day park. It's not a one-day park. It's a 2-day park.
Yeah.
Because if you do it in 2 days, you can really relax and really take your time. And you can take things in like the animation experience. Because people, a lot of times, are not wanting to do it because, well, it's going to take up time out of my day. But there, an hour of your time is like, who cares? There's only like 7 rides,
So let's end on this here. Let's go back again, like you said, to what Ear Scouts Rob and Ear Scouts Eric were doing. They give you the plan where you can be done checking the boxes, quote unquote, with all of those attractions by 10 o'clock. You have no worries after that point. Hakuna Matata.
Yeah.
Like for real.
Yeah.
That's the park to say that in.
Yeah.
So I think that's our closing is Hakuna Matata. Thank you to Eric and Rob for figuring that out. Go watch that video. Go with that plan.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the day, it means no worries for the rest of your days.
It really does.
It's our problem-free philosophy.
Yeah. You're so cheesy.
That's the way to end it. Oh, if you want to talk cheesy, I'll show you another podcast.
Seriously though, like go watch that video because I think it'll change how you do Animal Kingdom.
And those guys are awesome.
Yeah,
They're so much fun.
And by the way, no Genie Plus. It wasn't with Genie Plus. Like that's what he's known for is his Genie Plus stuff. This was not Genie Plus. It was just go early morning rope drop, like get it done with, and then you have the day there. I love that park. But anyway, I digress. We're getting off the track here.
I thought you were going to start singing Hakuna Matata.
Well,
maybe that's what you were getting to.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyone needs to hear that.
I could play it on the guitar, but
yeah. So thank you very much. If you aren't following us on Instagram, make sure you do that. It's at DizlessPod. And if you haven't been voting, make sure you go and do that and join in on the fun so you can say, nope, I did not vote that way. I did not vote that way. So you can be talking to your radio and you don't have to, disagree or agree with the people who voted with us.
And you said a good point earlier. If it's not going the way you want, send it to a friend.
Yeah. Exactly.
Try to swing the vote your way. That's not cheating.
Yeah.
It's votes are votes.
We're also going to be part of a podcast battle starting this week. I don't know if we'll still be in it at this point.
They were doing the live.
They did the live last night.
Seating at Disneyland.
They did it last night.
Cool.
Yeah. So
I have to go in and look.
Yeah.
They post those results in?
Yeah, they did. And I'll post the.
Cool.
I can post the reel on Instagram. But
so yeah, do us a favor. Go in and vote for. Oh my gosh, what is next? Epcot's next or Hollywood Studios? I don't even know.
Epcot is next.
Epcot is next.
Yeah.
Okay.
Epcot's next. So
I probably could have just scrolled over on the thing and looked.
Go vote in our stories for Epcot.
Yes, it is.
Attractions and things to do in Epcot. I think you guys will enjoy that one. And make sure that things go your way. But you can also check us out over on Patreon, www.patreon.com/DizlessPod. But it's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow, and tomorrow is just a list away.
Tune in next time, and we'll see you real soon.